Hey everybody, I haven't done one of these in a little while, but I'm going to go ahead and do a little race review for you guys once again. And first, I want to go and say congratulations to Kyle Busch on his third win of the season, and this marks his 63rd career victory in the Nascar Cup Series. And he moves up once again in the all-time wins list once again. Uh, so congratulations to Kyle Busch. And a very well deserved one too. Kyle Busch started from the pole and I do believe led the most laps. Second most was Ryan Blaney that also had a really good car as well. And what a race. Very long day. We're going to go ahead and talk about it here. Starting out pretty much at the beginning, there was a wreck that happened on lap two. And it happened to be with Tyler Reddick spinning out with contact. I believe it was from. It was actually from. It was actually on his own doing. He actually run in the back of Stenhouse. I guess he might have got a little scared trying to get off of the gas, let off, and just the car just went around on him really quickly. But luckily enough, he fought until he had some more problems with brake issues. A brake rotor broke on him, along with a couple of other drivers. Carson Hocevar subbing for Corey LaJoie, and Corey LaJoie subbing for Chase Elliott since Chase Elliott had the one race suspension. Carson Hocevar had brake rotor issues, along with Noah Gragson and Bubba Wallace in the 23. Both 2311 cars had brake issues. And I'll go and talk about that a little later on with the brake issues. But another incident happened, which was very notable, and I just was kind of a little upset. Ross Chastain, I guess doing Ross Chastain things. He was being a little bit aggressive on the restart. Made it 3 wide going into turn one, underneath Michael McDowell, and spun Michael McDowell around. And I think for Chastain's case, I really do want to defend him basically for sure. It seemed that McDowell kind of might have crowded him, but at the same time, I felt that Chastain made just kind of a little bit too aggressive move early on, 3 wide. It's actually, I think, at the beginning of stage number 2, I remember, if I remember. Made a 3 wide. He actually bounced off the rumble strips, got into McDowell. A little bit aggressive for Ross Chastain, and everybody knows what's been going on with him, with Ross Chastain, everything being a little bit too overly aggressive. The drivers kind of been talking about him as well. And, I guess it just hadn't stopped really, but I don't know. I really can't, I can't be too hard on Ross, is a racing deal, but McDowell did have the corner. It's just kind of it's just really unfortunate seeing Ross Chastain still make these stupid mistakes, being aggressive as he is. But Ross Chastain, he didn't finish really all that well tonight. He finished outside the top 15. So just kind of a really poor night for Ross. But it's been a couple of weeks where, he finished outside the top 15 in a couple races. Actually, Charlotte, he finished poor there as well. So I think Chastain, having the talks from Justin Marks after his over aggressiveness of driving, I wouldn't say it slowed him down too much to where he's out of contention for wins, but I think right now, I think he's trying to basically kind of learn how to take it easy a little bit. But once he kind of starts finding rhythm, hopefully he can find a way back up front. But I just don't want him to make very stupid mistakes like he's done in the past, like at Darlington for sure. But that was an incident kept note there. Lots of the incidents tonight were with brake rotor issues. Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Carson Hocevar, Noah Gragson. 3 out of the 4 drivers. Now, I'll mention this right now. Carson Hocevar, Bubba Wallace, and oh my gosh, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, and Carson Hocevar, excuse me. All 3 of those guys have had their brake rotor incidents in turn 1, and they all have done a really good job of making sure that the car is toward the outside wall and pretty much hitting the wall to slow the car down. 3 out of the 4 drivers have done that. Noah Gragson, the third driver that had this happen to him, he wasn't really lucky, I guess, as of him being a rookie. He did not really know in a heat in the moment. He just didn't know. But brake rotor issues was a thing going on, and a constant issue. Noah Noah Gragson did not turn to the wall. He actually went turning left, which is something you do not do in an incident like that, but instead you go to the wall and you turn right to slow yourself down. I know it doesn't seem like the best idea to do so, but it's not going to be a penalty. I know NASCAR made a rule saying that you cannot use the wall to advance your position. All these incidents were not having that happen, so therefore Noah Gragson should have done what everyone else was doing, but he did not. But it's a heat in the moment thing. You can't, you cannot tell the driver what to do in those moments, and that's very, very scary to to have happen. But those are the brake rotor issues. I do believe that NASCAR needs to look at this before they go to different racetracks such as Nashville, in the road courses, rest of the road courses, and also Pocono. Pocono, one of those places. There's a places I mentioned there that have drivers be on the brakes very, very hard. And I also do believe they need to look at this before Sonoma. NASCAR needs to look at the brake rotors and see what they need to improve on the suppliers actually too. BBS is the supplier, the company that supplies the brake rotors to these cars. The wheels are basically wider. They're 18-inch width wheels, along with the brakes that are bigger than the last generation car. So I do believe they need to look at that very closely before they go to any road courses or Pocono or Nashville Super Speedway at tracks that have the drivers be on the brakes very, very hard. Even short tracks too, I would love to see NASCAR look at that as well. But what a long race it was. We had a couple of incidents that happened on track, with a couple more incidents. Christopher Bell spinning from contact from Austin Cindric. It was just a racing incident that happened. And then Austin Dillon getting into Ricky Stenhouse Jr., getting turned by Austin Cindric, which Austin Cindric in his own doing there. Austin Dillon, as of seeing multiple shots going into turn one for the turn one camera, I do believe Austin Dillon kind of came up a little bit there. It was a racing incident. I think it should have been avoidable. Austin went up trying to, sometimes if you look at some drivers, they go up a little bit to try to angle themselves going into the corner. I do think that Austin Dillon did make a mistake on that. He went up a little bit too high and just didn't know that Austin Cindric was there. He got turned and also collected Stenhouse in the outside wall. I do believe it was kind of a little bit Austin Dillon's fault, just a little bit there. Just kind of a weird night for Austin Cindric. He actually finished, I think in the top 15. He was not in the top 10 as I remember. But notable drivers that finished in the top 10 that they're not locked in the playoffs. They're not in the cut line right now. Daniel Suarez and Mike McDowell. Great finishes for them. McDowell finished 9th, and I think Suarez finished 7th. And the rebound for William Byron after a late pit stop issue late on pit road. And speaking of pit road, it is at Worldwide Technology Raceway, it's 22 foot wide. And unfortunately, with an incident that happened, and very notable, Thomas from Legacy Motor Club. I was going to say his first name, Thomas Hackert. I think it's the name that from Legacy Motor Club. He unfortunately got hurt in a pit road incident, which Eric Jones ran into him, unfortunately. So thoughts and prayers, I say, for Thomas Hackert that got hit basically by Eric Jones. They were saying that Austin Dillon hit him, but it was not the case at all. It was Eric Jones running a little bit too hard in the pit box, and I guess the crew member was there in the wrong time. So thoughts and prayers out to him. He's at the local hospital right now, getting taken care of. So hopefully he will be there next week. Tyler Rex, one of Tyler Rex's pit crew members, came over to help out with the Legacy Motor Club team. Legacy Motor Club as a whole right now, they're really definitely in that very, very, it's been a tough season for them for sure, with the changes been going on with, from Petty GMS to Legacy Motor Club, Jimmy Johnson taking over to co-own the team and trying to drive that team forward into good finishes. Right now, that's not been the case for sure. So Kyle Busch wins. Denny Hamlin finished in second. Ryan Blaney third. Kyle Larson drifted back to fourth, battling Kyle Busch for 5 to 6 restarts tonight. Kyle Larson, I do believe, with his pit strategy, very, very nice. Martin Truex Jr. also pitted late along with William Byron, 4 tires. Truex Jr. climbed up. I think he did finish in the top 10. So I have to look back on the finishing order, but Martin Truex Jr. did show up toward the end, and very, very happy. So I think he finished fifth, I believe, fourth or fifth. Larson dropped back. I think he actually did drop back. Larson might have dropped back to fifth, and Truex Jr. to fourth there. So good job, actually, for the JGR cars of Hamlin and Truex tonight. Christopher Bell caught up in an instant. Ty Gibbs, unfortunately, with him, he had another poor finish outside the top 15 there, just battling along that. But he kept a good attitude fighting it, and Ross Chastain outside the top 15 finished as well. It's kind of blather basically going on. I just talked about everything that happened and took place. So next week will be Sonoma, the last race on FS1. Well, Fox covering it. I do think that Fox overall, I will say, they covered a lot of the NASCAR 75th stuff very, very well. But there is a lot of key things, a lot of moments that they've had made mistakes on, and hopefully so whenever they sign the contract, they will sign the contract to go. Likely they will sign the contract to continue broadcasting. I hope that next year when they sign a contract for the TV's license and that they renew it, I hope they can do a better job covering everything. But they're definitely not what they used to be back in the old days, or back in the glory days and the early 2000s or the 2010s at all. They're definitely things have kind of taken downhill for sure. But they're trying their best, and we would definitely now want to recognize that NBC/USA Network is going to take over for the rest of the year. I'm very excited obviously for that, what Rick Allen and the team are going to do there. Hopefully the USA/NBC Network can kind of cover things better with the NASCAR 75 anniversary thing going on. Maybe having, more recognition, for things that happened. Maybe inviting drivers in the booth. Like I really do like what Fox does with bringing different drivers into the booth and stuff like that. I hope that NBC can do something like that as well. But a lot of that's been really taken by Fox. But hopefully NBC can do something kind of special with the NASCAR 75th anniversary stuff, because that'd be really nice. Maybe an intro that before the race, or when race coverage is happening. Hoping they do an intro that's really special. That'd be really, really something special basically for all of us, that we can kind of have remember basically for the year for NBC and /USA Network. But Fox will be having their final race taking place at Sonoma, having the broadcast there. I didn't know or don't know who's going to be being the third person in there besides Clint Boyer and all that stuff. Just a crazy race, long race. We've had 3 red flags, a lightning delay for an hour and 36 minutes, but then when they got back around, there was an extra several minutes, so it was an hour and 45 minutes long. And lots of chaos that happened, everything I wanted to see. Good racing in the back of the field. Also for the race lead as well. There's a lot of good multi-groove racing. This track really delivered on multi-groove racing throughout the week in the truck race. Really good stuff there. Drivers in the back of the field basically being aggressive, and the cup race too. Everyone being aggressive as well, looking for, going up higher and higher on the racetrack. And my goodness, especially in turn 1, they're basically almost up near the wall. And turn 3, really not as much, but they're going up there as well, finding something. And I'm very glad that this racetrack is really starting to be a good place, for multi-groove racing. On the bottom of the racetrack, though, the bottom lane, you can't really necessarily do much, but on the outside lane, you could definitely get some momentum going. You just have to be out of that dirty air, as a driver. They have to, get out of the wake, basically, for sure, because it does affect them, for sure. But making passes on the bottom, you can do very rarely. But on the top, when you make a pass, when you have a guy pass a driver on the outside lane, they're in trouble. The outside lane's really, really good at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So I really do like this track. It's kind of grown on me, for sure. Maybe next year, and I would like to see some improvements with, for sure, going back there with the brakes for the cars. I would definitely like to see less brake failures than we've seen this year. Um, Maybe a lot of shifting from third, fourth, and fifth. That's a lot of strain and stress on the transaxle, but they did a pretty good job. Those guys, we didn't see any engine failures, luckily enough, or anything with that. Transaxle failures, there was not a whole lot of that going on, so that's good. None of that stuff happened. Um, I do want to give a shout out to one driver that actually overcame an issue of shifting. I guess I do believe it was a shifting issue for Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski, I want to give him a shout out basically for a second. He was 3 laps down in this race, came back, got back in the lead lap. Unfortunately, did not finish in the top 25 or anything like that. But man, Brad Keselowski, I might have been lying about that. I don't know. But Brad Keselowski, he fought and scratched and clawed. He finished the race on the lead lap. So congrats to Brad Keselowski for that. I know it was definitely not the way for his 500 start he would want, but Brad Keselowski did a pretty good job on that for sure. And lots of good things too. Byron with the comeback, finishing in the top 10. He finished in the top 10. He finished 10th. Bubba Wallace was having a good race going. He was one of the drivers that pitted with William Byron, Martin Truex Jr. as well. Unfortunately, had the brake failure that happened late in the race with 7 laps to go that brought the overtime. And wow, I had a day to night transition race, which I really like those a lot because it is an attrition that we see. But it's a long day for the fans at the racetrack, having to wait out the lightning delay and all that stuff. There was a guy that literally fell asleep in the infield. So, lots of family segments on TV with kids and babies and all that stuff. Really, I like seeing the new fans. There. It's really nice to see that. NASCAR's been very welcoming for new fans. But otherwise, I guess it's going to wrap things up. I don't really have anything else really. Kyle Busch dominated performance, I guess. Won stage 1 of this race. Ryan Blaney won the second stage. And Blaney was also fast too. And so as well as William Byron. Denny Hamlin was really quick. Kyle Larson, I want to give him a shout out as well. Started in the back of the field. Finished inside the top 10. Kyle Larson, man, I love the drive and the determination for Kyle Larson. He races on the weekdays. Doesn't really rely on simulation, doesn't rely on iRacing or the OEM simulation. Kyle Larson's a guy that will literally race on the weekdays, such as the Lucas Oil, sprint late model series, and as well as the sprint cars. Kyle Larson, he's a weekday racer, and especially this summer, he's going to be tackling every bit of short tracks you guys can go to. Whenever you guys can see him, man, watch out for Kyle Larson at those dirt tracks. And especially every weekend, every weekend moving forward, watch out for Kyle Larson because he's really good in these next-gen cars now. I know last year he's gotten 3 wins. This year he has he's had a win at Martinsville, a win at Richmond, and an all-star win as well. So 2 wins in the regular season. Byron with 3, Kyle Busch now with 3. So Byron and Kyle Busch are the only 2 drivers right now that have 3 wins this year. So lots of, only a couple of drivers been multi-winners. William Byron, Kyle Busch, and Kyle Larson are the only 3 multi-winners this year. Just what an entertaining year this has been so far. Hope the regular season can continue to slap really hard basically into ratings or whatever, and also good finishes, good stuff going on. I guess I'll end this here. Thank you guys for watching. I know it's just a bland photo of Kyle Busch. I did a screenshot. I know it's definitely not the right picture at the time, but you know what? It's okay. Kyle Busch gets his 3rd win of the season, his 63rd in the Cup Series in his career, and congratulations to Kyle Busch. What a race. Long day, and hope you guys watched it because I sure did. Thank you guys for watching this little review. I know this might be a little bit of a long one, but this has been the NASCAR Freak, aka Jackson Becky here, and I'll see you guys in a NASCAR diecast review. I have diecast coming. I bought some new ones, so I'll show you guys coming up in a couple days. And thank you guys for watching, and make sure you guys like and comment, subscribe. I might do another review maybe if I have another chance. I didn't review the Truck Series or Xfinity races, but I just don't want to finish up on this one. Thank you guys for watching. Signing out, and God bless.